Welcome to Let's Think About It with Advocates Protecting Children. I'm Maria Keffler.
I'm Erin Brewer.
And I am May Lyle.
And today we're going to talk about a Biden administration executive order that has been leaked to the press that is suggesting that the Biden administration is going to mandate all prisons to put men in women's prisons if they claim to be a female. This puts women at huge risk, and we've already seen instances of women being raped by men who have identified as women within prison context. We've heard of instances where women have gotten pregnant because their cellmates are actually male. And now we potentially have the Biden administration proposing an executive order that would require prisons to put men in women's prisons. And all the man has to do is say he feels like a woman.
It's ridiculous. We just saw in Loudoun County, which is a neighboring county to me here, a high school boy who claims to be transgender assaulted two girls in two different schools in the bathroom. The judge just sentenced him and said that his sexual, the workup that they did on him, his psychology around sex scared her. She said, I am scared at who you are. And he was allowed to go into the women's restrooms in school and assault two different girls, potentially three now. And now he's going to be in prison. Where is he going to be put in prison? Probably with women.
Yeah.
You know, this is really, it's incredibly scary because these are prisoners. These are known predators. These are known assailants. And I heard of a situation where one woman was incredibly scared because her ex-abusive husband was taking on a transgender identity and trying to petition to get into women's prison. He would have been put in the same prison as her. This is a man who tried to kill her. And so these are rapists, these are predators, these are men who are pretending to be women in order to gain access to vulnerable women. What a better situation for a guy who wants to prey upon women than to get put in a locked cell with a vulnerable woman.
What is it going to take to get the authorities' attention that this is wrong?
You know, May, I actually think a lot of people know this is wrong. I think a lot of people in positions of authority and policymakers know this is wrong. I think they're cowards. I think they're afraid to stand up because, it might hurt their re-election possibilities. It might hurt their donations. It might hurt their careers. They know. Anybody with a lick of common sense knows this is wrong. This is abusive to women. This denies women's safety. As you said, Erin, the most vulnerable women in society, those who are in prison, this completely victimizes them. Policymakers, people in authority, everybody stand up and stop being a coward. Say this is wrong. You know this is wrong. We all know this is wrong.
Well, and this is the power of what is essentially a religious belief, a cultish belief system, because all a man has to do now is claim to feel like he's a woman, and nobody's allowed to question it. To me, that is, the essence of a state-sponsored religious belief system, that we are not allowed to question when a man claims to feel like a woman, and that's all he has to do in order to gain access to vulnerable women. This is really unconscionable, and it's very scary because the Biden administration has clearly bought into this religious ideology and is now pushing it into policy so that women and children and our whole society now is being forced to accept this ideology or face consequences.
And we've seen over and over again that these guys who say they're women, not all of them think they're women. That boy in the Loudoun School District, he went in and sexually assaulted two girls. Women tend not to sexually assault other women. That's pretty rare. And when there is a woman who's been involved in a sexual assault, there's usually a man who's instigating it and partnering with her, as in the Elizabeth Smart case. Mm-hmm. Women don't do this. So a man who says he's a woman and then goes and rapes a woman, not a woman, that's a man.
And the frustrating thing is that when all of this started years ago, they said that that'll never happen. That
Yeah.
will never happen. You're being absurd. You're being transphobic. Well, now that it's happening, there's this whole new narrative of you can't say that. That's transphobic. You can't question it. So again, clearly this is an ideology. It's not based on science. It's not all doom and gloom, though. There are some efforts being made. There's two different efforts that I wanted to just bring up so that people don't feel completely helpless, because sometimes it's easy to just feel like, man, this religious belief system is just swept across our country. And if I don't buy into it, I'm going to be labeled as transphobic. The Women's Liberation Front has a petition. I would encourage everybody to sign. It basically says, to pass the Preventing Violence Against Female Inmates Act. And this is an act, I need to find the exact sponsor, Tom Cotton, who is sponsoring this legislation, saying basically to keep men out of women's prisons. So I would encourage people to sign this petition, as well as to call your legislator, call whoever it is that represents you, and talk to them directly, because the Wolf petition, and we'll put that in the comments below, is something that you can just submit. It'll generate an email to your legislator. But really, we need people to do above and beyond that. We need people to actually write out letters and send them in the mail, to send out postcards, to call your legislator, to really make a fuss about this. Because if we don't push back against this, the executive order by the Biden administration is likely just to be accepted. And that's again, one more encroachment into women's rights. We've already had men taking over the titles of women, the sports records, the Jeopardy record. Now we have a Golden Globe winner who's a male, who's now got recognized as the best female actress. This ideology is just completely seeping into every aspect of our society. If we don't stand up and stop it, who knows where it's going to end up? It's going to end up really destroying all women's rights and protections, all girls' rights and protections. And that's not a society that's going to be safe for any female to live in.
I cannot emphasize enough what you said about contacting any of your legislators' offices, because that's the only way you're going to get your voice heard. And you cannot just, I hope people just don't assume that your representatives are voicing what you're thinking. They have to know what you're thinking.